Lost that connection with Atul, but we'll move on to some other stories coming our way. Now, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has told the Supreme Court that key evidence in the Ahmedabad Air India crash probe, including the cockpit recordings and witness statements, cannot be made public under the law. The agency has opposed the demand for a court-monitored independent investigation, saying that the confidentiality is in fact meant to protect the integrity of the probe and also meet India's international obligations. The AAIB has also informed the court that the final draft investigation report is expected by October 2026. Well, let's discuss this further with Captain C.S. Randhawa, who's the president of the FIP, or the Federation of Indian Pilots, who's joining us live on the broadcast. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your time and for patiently waiting. We appreciate it. Very good afternoon to you, Captain. I want to understand what are your observations regarding the statement that is coming in from the AAIB, sir?
Good afternoon, Shivani. Well, I'll first of all come to the press to the affidavit which submitted in the Supreme Court. AIB has clearly mentioned, and it is actually in concurrence with the Rule 17 of the Aircraft Investigation Act of 2005, in which it clearly says that cockpit voice recordings and transcripts from the recordings and transcription recordings from the accident or during the accident or with air traffic control, that they cannot share it in public. However, if you see the Rule 17, it does not debar a court to give an order, and it can be heard in private by the court. So, as far as their contention is that this cannot be made public, they are absolutely legal in that. What they have said in the affidavit, and we would be taking it up during the course of our arguments in the Supreme Court on the 17th. If it gets delayed, then on a subsequent date, in which we are going to be specifically saying that in case of an anomaly existing, and should there be a requirement of a CVR has to be played back during the course of court proceedings, then the court should be allowed, because as per the Rule 17, which I see, that is nowhere it forbids the court to go into the details and listen to the CPR recording. So, and for this reason, from the beginning, we have been fighting for one thing, that there should be a judicial probe which has to be conducted under the chairmanship of a retired judge or a sitting judge of the High Court or the Supreme Court. So the idea is to have more transparency and accountability. Now, these nitty-gritties which are coming now, that as per now AIB is following strictly these rules positions which are in concurrence with the ICAO Annexure 13. So I wouldn't blame the AIB of not, and they are right in mentioning this. However, let us see what the courts have to say on this.
Right. Captain Randhawa, in fact, like you mentioned, that an in-camera proceeding can happen if a court-monitored probe is ordered, and this is something that even the families of the victims have been asking for, even the Pilots Federation has been asking for. I want to also understand from you, Captain, it's already been a year. We are now, looking at the AAIB stating that maybe the draft report will come out in October. Do you believe that this delay is justice denied? Because obviously we are seeking accountability, and we are seeking answers to what actually happened in that tragedy.
See, Shivani, there are a couple of things which legally we got to understand. First and foremost thing, the Annexure 13 of the ICAO and the doc 9756 part 1, 2, 3, 4. Nowhere does it strictly say that within 1 year the report has to come out. I'll give you simple examples like the Malaysian 370, then Air France 447, which crashed in the Atlantic in 2009. The In that Air France crash, because they had to locate the debris and the flight recorders and all, it took almost 3 years to finalize the report, right? And MH370, nothing has come till now.
Right.
The reason is because they found no evidence, right? So
Right.
how will they conclude the report? So there is no embargo that it has to come in within 1 year. The Any investigation body, including NTSB, they can take time. So the idea is that we are saying we are not against them taking time. We are one thing which we have been persuading since beginning, that there has to be a total transparency in the investigation process, and all points should be considered.
Right.
But we find there is a lack of expertise in the investigation board which has been set up, and they are taking the expertise of the Boeing company, and they have been taken as subject matter experts, whereas we have been demanding the subject matter experts for pilots from 787, engineers on 787. So these are, we have been trying to always insist upon having qualified people in the investigation board, because the five,
Right.
6 people who are there in part of the AIB, no one is qualified on the 787. So we have been saying that how are you taking the help of you can for assistance purposes you can take the assistance of Boeing company and NTSB and others, because they're stakeholders. But as far as drawing out conclusions, you need subject matter experts, and that those people should be from India. This is what we have been demanding right from 14th of June 2025 after the crash. And in between, immediately after the crash, when we had brought up this point, Captain Sandhu, who's the ex Director Operations of Air India and examiner on 787, he was taken on board as a subject matter expert. However, he's not being consulted since January, and on the contrary, what we've heard is that the 737 pilot, some ex-Jet Airways in Akasa, is a pilot who's been taken on board from 737 aircraft. Now, and pilot from a 737 aircraft, there is a lot of difference in the aircraft manufacturing and the systems which carries.
Right.
And if you see the 787, it's highly reliant on the electrical system. So you need a specialized person who has been from 787 aircraft. Similarly, we have no knowledge that they have got subject matter experts who are engineers from India.
Right.
So, if you are taking the help of the people who are involved, with the OEM or the whether it is the manufacturer of the aircraft, and or like Honeywell or GE who manufacture the engines, there's no harm in taking their opinion and all. But however, to proceed with the investigations with an
Okay.
absolute transparency, you need the subject matter experts.
All right.
That is what we have been questioning even in the Supreme Court,
All right.
right? And insistently, we have been writing to the ministry, but nothing has happened. In fact, we have written 1 or 2 letters to the Prime Minister also, and
Right.
we we have not got any replies on that, and they have not been responding. And even after that, when we went to court, it's just
Absolutely, Captain
dragged on.
Randhawa, I apologize for interrupting you. but that's all the time that we have for this. But I thank you for your valuable perspective on this issue. We're now moving forward to some more breaking news coming our way. Well, in the Badri